So chat, today before I queue up, I'm gonna be talking like for 10 minutes about 10 different facts. You're gonna like those, believe it. You probably don't know these facts, but I'll talk about 10 crazy Overwatch lore facts that you probably didn't know. So it's gonna be cool because the next time you go into the game, because you have a little bit of story behind each character, you will understand some voice lines. You'll understand why some voice lines are so weird. You will understand why some voice lines uh, like happen, like why is he saying that or something like that. You will see. The crazy facts are insane. You guys gotta like. For example, the first one. Did you guys knew that apes killed all scientists in the lunar colony located on the moon? Did you guys knew that? It's crazy. So, if you guys remember, there was a map that was called Lunar Colony, and that was actually, look, if I can, that was actually a base where they experimented on monkeys. One of them was Winston. They also experimented on other animals, and one of them was Hammond, my main, which is nice. But look, if you search Lunar Colony, all the information I search it here. So this map, you see, this map was actually, this is like a base where they experimented on the apes. But supposedly the apes actually killed all scientists that were experimented on, including Dr. Harold, which was like one of the best friends of Winston, right? Winston, although was not part of it because Winston was like super smart. Sadly, you can't play the map anymore. Because, you know, the community blamed it. That was a 2CP map. It was really hard to get the second point, so it doesn't exist anymore. So basically, all apes, or like most of them, besides Winston and Hammond, they all reacted super violent to the treatment that they were receiving. So they become really aggressive. And the problem is because this lab was literally on the moon, as you can see, like there is the Earth there, was literally on the moon. They didn't dare anywhere to put them. So there was a big discussion, should we send them to Earth or should we let them be here? So they had to confine them, which like made the situation even worse. Dr. Aldo Winston, which is like a doctor, one of the scientists, that's why Winston is named Winston, because he was named after his doctor. So what happened was, like, at a certain point, there was like a message that he asked for help because one of the airlocks, and you can see this airlock on the map actually, I don't know if I can see it here. One of the airlocks had a malfunction, right? So all the scientists went to his aid, and basically what happened is the monkeys was like a plot that the monkeys made to kill all the scientists outside, because the airlock opened to space, right? And once the scientists were outside, they all died into space. So that's pretty dark. The theory is that the malfunction on the airlock was a plot from the apes to kill all scientists by asphyxiation. Isn't that crazy? That is so crazy. So yeah, besides Winston escaped with Hammond. We can talk about it. That's actually the second one, the second crazy fact about Overwatch lore. That was the first, and the second one is how Hammond became to be. So Hammond, in case you don't know, it was also one of the animals that were experimented on this lunar colony map. You can actually see his cage. You can actually see Hammond's cage. Let me see if I can find you. Well, Wrecking Ball, the hamster, it's called hamster, right? I mean, Hammond. You can actually see his cage. I'm pretty sure there must be like an image somewhere here. I think it's this one, but on the map itself, beneath top right, you can actually see it. It's so adorable, by the way. The more you know, Weth. True, it's so adorable, the story. You know, it was a hamster originally, like a normal animal, that was modified genetically, resulting on a considerable growth in size, but also in intelligence. If you notice, like, he's super big for a hamster, right? But he also becomes super smart. And it's so adorable to know that he often escaped the confinement where he was several times. Although he was always found, he escaped the confinement where he was. And you know what he did when he escaped it? He actually was a self-learned. He learned the mechanics of a skill, of the skill of a mechanic when he escaped. Isn't that PogChamp? Skills that, by the way, he would later on use to build his wrecking ball. Winston, the gorilla, and Hammond, they were actually good friends at the beginning. But this friendship, sadly, broke. And you can hear some voice lines in-game, although they're very rare.
Hammond, we were friends on Horizon. Where did we go wrong? Perhaps it was when you stole his rocket design.
Oh no! I found that in the system. It was an accident.
Was it also an accident when you left for Earth without him?
Unique. And why did the friendship broke? Well, basically, Winston stole one of the blueprints that Hammond made to build like a spaceship, kinda. So when Winston ran away, he built his own escape pod, but the blueprint actually stole from a computer, and the blueprint was made by Hammond. And you can see some voice lines about it in-game. So when Winston was escaping the lunar colony located on the moon, Hammond also built like a pod of itself and it attached to it, and they both ran away from the colony. But like mid-atmosphere, that thing that connected both of them split it. So Eman ended up in Australia and Winston, I think, in Gibraltar. You can actually see this. You can actually see this spot in one of the maps. So basically, Winston supposedly landed there. Let me see. Oh, can I show it? I think I need to change to the red team. I need to change to the red team. Look here. You see that? That's the Winston pot. And Hamster was attached here. The Wrecking Ball originally was just like a pot where he escaped it, right? And then later on in Australia, he actually built like a mechanized Wrecking Ball. See, he was attached here to this thing. But mid-air, he got detached. But yeah, Winston came from there, see? And this spaceship, that's Hammond. Hammond designed this one. Okay, the other crazy fact about lore is that Anna, although like she seems very like an innocent Grammy, she was actually a deadly sniper. In the lore, before she joined Overwatch League, she was actually a deadly sniper. A right eye, as you can see, she has like a thing. But before she had that thing, she actually had the cybernetic eye. And it's interesting that she refused to heal that eye because she liked to be reminded of the emotional pain that it causes her. And the thing about her kills is that she preferred to perform clean kills instead of like injury the target, because she wanted the targets not to feel like any pain, like a clean death, you know? And in her Kinamura rifle, she added a notch for each kill. In her weapon, she tended to add like a notch. That's for each kill she got. So the next time you look at Tanda, she was a deadly sniper. Okay, the seventh crazy lore fact is about that the population of Rio de Janeiro. Now we have a map about it. But the population of Rio de Janeiro was actually abused by Viscar Corporation. In case you don't know, Viscar Corporation is a real corporation where Symmetra learned her skills. Viscar Corporation was known for the technology that you see on Symmetra, which is called like light bending. Basically, it transforms hard light into like material stuff, right? They promised to the people of there that they will help her like construct stuff, buildings and social buildings and all of that thing to make Rio de Janeiro rise, right? But they actually didn't. In the shadows, they were not what they appeared to be. They promised to improve their life, but that was a lie. Instead, they input like a law, like staying indoors at specific times, inputting their own laws, enforcing like cheap labor, which is interesting. So all of this confrontation actually happened to create a hero out of this confrontation, and that hero was actually called Lucio. So it's very interesting lore about Lucio too. But yeah, so you know Lucio kind of researched out of this confrontation between the people of Rio de Janeiro and Viscar Corporation. Okay, another crazy lore fact was about Tanzo. You can actually check more about his lore in one of the cinematics if you want to check that out. One of the first cinematics about Tanzo and Genji. So Anzo and Genji, in case you don't know, they were brothers, by the way. They were part of the Shimada clan, right? And Shimada clan was basically like this organized family, right? Organized crime family. Genji was younger, was like the younger brother. Anzo was the oldest one. But did you guys know that Genji was actually very disobedient? He was more like a playboy. He didn't want to take any responsibilities. He could do like whatever you want, which is interesting. So he had like a playball style. So the leaders of the clan didn't like this because obviously Genji at some point of his life needed to take like responsibilities for the clan. So what they did is, and this is pretty dark, they actually sent Anzo to kill Genji. which he almost succeeded. Anzo regretted the act. He actually thought that he killed Genji. He regretted so bad, and he also refused his responsibilities as a clan leader. And this, after this story, that's when the cinematic that you guys know about Anzo starts. This is the cinematic. So after what I just told you, that's when this cinematic happens, okay? So I recommend you guys to watch it. It's pretty pog. The fifth crazy Overwatch lore fact. I think this is one of the most impactful ones for me. And it's about Widowmaker. The tragic end. Well, not end, but the tragic story behind how Widowmaker was made. Like this character. If you look at her, she kind of looks like an assassin and so, but she was not always like this, believe it or not. Do you guys want to know how she was before become Widowmaker? She actually was a normal person. Her name was Amelia? No, Amelie? I think Amelie? Amelie, see? She was literally a normal person, as you guys can see here. She was a normal person. Before she became an assassin, her name was Emily. She actually was a very well-known ballet dancer in Paris. Her husband, as you guys can see the image, was Gerard Lacroix. And this is where things start to get interesting. He was actually an agent in the Overwatch League. Overwatch League, no. She was actually an agent on the Overwatch team. I guess I can call it Overwatch team. And what he did is his mission was he was like the leader of the missions against Talon, the organization, right, in Overwatch. That organization tried to kill Gerard multiple times, but they couldn't, right? So what they did, they turned their attention to Emily. And this is when things start to get interesting. Since they couldn't kill her husband, they kidnapped Amelie. That's how you say it, Amelie. It's so weird because the accent is on the E, Amelie. They tried to kill they kidnapped her, and what they did, they subjected her into like an intense program of neural recondition, which I feel like it's so dark. Breaking her will, suppressing her personality, and reprogram her into a sleeper agent. Was during this transformation, that's why their skin changed, chat. You see her skin is like ice blue. She went through like an intensive experimentation and training. Her heart rate was slowed. Her skin took an ice. That's why her skin is like this color, because her heart rate slowed down, right? And she became like super emotionless. But yeah, the person that she was basically went off. And this is where the crazy part becomes. So basically, after she was transformed, she was found by Overwatch team. And the Overwatch team think everything was fine, right? She was okay. She was just kidnapped. And she came to her normal life, right? Apparently. And what happened was she actually killed her husband in his sleep. And yeah, that's pretty dead. Okay, another Overwatch lore crazy fact is about that Anna actually lost her eye. She had the cybernetic eye, but that eye was lost to Widowmaker in a duel. This happens like one of the last missions against Talon, the organization. It was like a rescue mission. It had Jack Morrison, which is soldier, involved. And there was like a sniper duel between her and Widowmaker. And actually Anna was actually able to shoot Widowmaker, and you can see this. Look, I can show you here, one of the comics. You see, this is Anna. Anna shot her, and when Anna shot her, she was able to realize that it was Emily, which is interesting. And when that happened, she froze. Anna froze. And because of that, Widow actually had a shot on Anna. So basically, Anna becomes so emotional because she saw that Widowmaker was actually Amelie. So she got shot in one of her eyes. And everyone believed that she was dead. So she used this opportunity to escape like the Overwatch team and like to have time for herself. And this is also why she didn't communicate with her daughter, Farah. Is one of the reasons, because she also lost her memory temporarily, But then with time, she come back. She did regret her decision of leaving her daughter behind, but she needed time to herself. She lost her memory. She went to Poland with temporary amnesia. She actually told one of the doctors to not tell anything about her personality, about her identity to the world. So she became Eden. That's why you hear some voice lines about it in game. So another crazy lore fact. It's the third one. It's about the fact that Symmetra is autistic, believe it or not. Symmetra is like in the autism spectrum. She has troubles socializing, and you can see some voice lines where the voice lines are just weird when it comes to socializing. Very weird. You will see it in game when you play with her. She suffers from a sensory overload, so she prefers like environments that are structured and harmonies. That's why you see her always talking about harmony and so. She always needs like set routines, even when she goes on vacations or so. One of the comics it shows about it. And as a child, she actually had trouble like understanding metaphors. And this, the reason why she is like that, or one of the reasons, was because of her background. She has a very tough childhood. Her real name was actually Satya Vaswani. That's her real name. And she grew up like in high poverty in India. Was definitely not a pleasant environment to grow on. The village was like super overcrowded. The water was murky, so her environment when she grew up was pretty tough, and I'm guessing that didn't help her like with her autism. But she found like consolation on dancing. That's why you can see one of the emotes where she's dancing, which is nice. The second one is the fact that Mercy is actually kinda immune to aging, or at least she's very slow to aging. A little bit of background about Mercy. Her name is Ziegler, Dr. Ziegler. Her parents died when she was young, and basically, do you see this armor, chat? So her armor, it's like very technologically advanced that allow her to slow her aging process. Believe it or not, Mercy is actually 37 years old, as you can see here, which is insane, isn't it? She's actually 37 years old. She has a AMD and a PhD in the doctor field. Her parents were killed in a airstrike, which is super sad. But she didn't become like revengeful or mean, right? She used that feeling to be a doctor and be peaceful towards the world, and you can see this on the Overwatch team when she joined it. She's super smart. When she joined the Overwatch League team, she was able to create with her technology this suit. As you can see, like the suit that she uses, it's a very, very advanced suit that allows her to cure like critical wounds and stuff like that, okay? Which is interesting though. You can see some voice lines between Genji and Mercy, because Genji actually was helped to rebuild his own cyborg body, was helped by Mercy. And they had very good late night talks. And Mercy is really bad at making coffee. The only person in the world that likes Mercy coffee, it's actually Genji. That's why you see that's why there is like that theory of Mercy and Genji like being a couple. Oh, and the last one has to do with May cinematic. It's so tragic. So basically, May was a scientist that belonged to Overwatch team, and they were sent to Antarctica to research. If you haven't watched the cinematic, I recommend you to watch it. It's so tragic. Basically, all May teammates died, like lab mates. They all died besides her. So she's a climatologist who worked for Overwatch before the organization collapsed, and they were stationed on basically they were trying to monitoring the climate change in Antarctica, right? On Echo Point, it's called. But there was like a huge storm that happened before they received like the resources that they need to keep going the investigation there. Receive a critical resupply, that's what it's called. So what the crew decided to do because of the storm is they decided to cryogenically freeze themselves until the rescue mission came. What happened is that mission never came because Overwatch collapsed during that time. So everyone that was on those pots frozen, like they had malfunction besides the May one, and they all died. May was literally the one last survive Was like they spent like 9 years frozen. So the pots at some point stop working and they all died. Besides May. But May, as you will see in the cinematic if you watched it, was the only survival. She was able to survive, and she actually escaped the facility on foot with her new weapon. You guys knew that the new weapon that she used was actually a hair dryer that she built out of the materials that she had left on this lab. That's pretty cool. So yeah, that was it, chat. I hope you guys enjoyed the crazy Overwatch lore facts. I had help finding those. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. Now back to gaming.